There was a young carpenter named Jack Turner, a man whose hands could shape wood into anything, except his own life. He lived in a quiet town near Oregon's forests, where mornings smelled of pine and sawdust. Jack had dreams, big ones. He wanted to build homes, bridges, something that would last forever. But he was impatient. He wanted success now, not later. Every time he began a new project, his mind would jump to the next idea before finishing the first. His father used to say, "A mind that chases every sound will never hear the melody of focus." But Jack never listened. He mistook activity for progress and talent for discipline. Then came the day that broke his pride. He was hired to craft a grand oak door for the town's library, his biggest commission yet. He worked quickly, confident it would be perfect. But when the day came to install it, the door wouldn't fit the frame. Not just by an inch, by a whole mindset. The corners were off, the edges rough, the symmetry gone. The librarian looked at him and said softly, "You built with your hands, not your focus." That night, Jack sat alone in his workshop, the sound of rain echoing against the roof, the broken door leaning against the wall like a mirror to his own chaos. He realized his biggest failure wasn't in the wood, it was in himself. A few days later, an old carpenter named Mr. Harris stopped by. He had built ships, churches, and entire town halls. But more than anything, he had built patience. He studied the ruined door for a long time and said, "You know, the wood listens to your thoughts. If your mind is restless, the grain will twist. If your heart is calm, the cut will follow truth." Jack laughed softly. "So, the wood can read my mind?" Mr. Harris smiled. "It doesn't read it, son, it reflects it." Mr. Harris handed Jack a chisel and a small block of oak. "Carve a straight line through it," he said. "No rulers, no guides, just your breath and your patience." Jack scoffed. "How hard can it be?" He tried. The chisel slipped, the line bent. He tried again. It broke. Hours passed. His frustration grew. He slammed the chisel down and shouted, "This is impossible!" Mr. Harris replied calmly, "That's not the wood you're fighting. It's your own impatience." He walked away, leaving Jack in silence with the oak block and his thoughts. For days, Jack practiced. At dawn, when the world was quiet, he'd take the chisel, breathe in, and make one clean cut. The first few were jagged, then smoother, then nearly perfect. He began to notice something. His hands only trembled when his mind did. When his thoughts were loud, his cuts were messy. When his thoughts were still, his cuts were true. One morning, as sunlight broke through the window, he carved a line so clean that the wood almost shined. He smiled, not because it was perfect, but because he finally felt present. That afternoon, Mr. Harris shared with him 4 truths. Truths not just for carpentry, but for life. Principle meaning: 1. Control your hands. Every movement begins with a thought. If your mind is steady, your hands will follow. 2. Respect the process. Rushing through time means disrespecting the journey. 3. Remove distractions. A cluttered space reflects a cluttered soul. Simplify to see clearly. 4. Practice presence daily. Not perfection, presence. What you give attention to will grow. Jack wrote them on the back of his workshop door, the same one he once failed to build. Months passed. Jack stopped checking his phone. He stopped racing the clock. He began to love the sound of silence, the rhythm of saw and breath working together. The door he rebuilt this time fit perfectly. Every detail aligned. Every corner told a story. When the librarian asked how he did it, Jack said simply, I stopped building the door and started building myself. Mr. Harris, standing nearby, smiled. Then you've learned the true craft, son. Not the art of wood, but the art of focus. Years later, people came from other towns to buy Jack's work. They said his furniture had soul. They couldn't explain it, but every piece carried a calmness, as if made by a man who had found peace within himself. One day, an apprentice asked him, "How did you learn to build so perfectly?" Jack smiled and replied, "Perfectly? No, but patiently. Yes." He looked at the boy and said, "Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. The freedom to choose what truly matters and to ignore what doesn't. Your hands can only shape what your mind can hold, and when the mind is steady, everything you build will last."